Everyone, and thank you so much for the great intro, and thank you so much for having me here. It's always tough to do the first session after lunch, so I hope I don't bore you and you guys don't fall asleep. So I took a long flight for this 20-minute session, so please give me your attention, and hopefully you'll find this useful. So a little bit about my background. As you heard in my intro, that I lead the product management team for Informatica. And if you don't know what Informatica is, we are a 30-year-old company, and what we do is all about data. We are a data management company, and we've been around for 30 years, and we are recently got acquired by Salesforce. So now, very soon, we'll be part of Salesforce. What will be my role? My role at Informatica is I'm a VP of products for all of their AI product line. I build multiple products. I build big data products. I build a lot of analytics products. So all my experience is around data, AI, and cloud. So what you will hear today? So you will hear some of the typical tips and trick of building your first agentic AI solution. So if you haven't built any agents, or if you are not into technology, this session will find it. You'll find some tips on if you are looking at building your first generative AI application or your agentic AI application, what are the different things you need to look at? So that's what I'm going to talk about. But before I start, I just want to see a show of hand. How many of you already have built something with AI, any AI application? All right, some few of them. Any one of you have done agentic AI development? Have you built any agents? All right, only 3 or 4. All right, that's pretty much consistent with what I see in the market. In fact, what we did was we actually looked at multiple customers, and we have spoken to different enterprises, and there are a lot of surveys and also multiple stats which came up. But actually, I found these 3 stats to be extremely useful. The first thing I found was, just like many of you in the room, we found that there are 90% of the companies who are doing something with AI, which means either they are doing any predictive AI use cases or any generative AI use cases, but they are doing something with AI. But very, very few, what the stat says is only 20% of them actually see value out of it. So 90% are implementing it, but very few see a value out of it. And one of the core reason why we see why they don't see a big value out of those generative AI application or those AI application they are building is because they are still building those AI applications basically for the edge use case. They are using it for improving their emails or summarizing it or building more content, but it is not core to the business. So if you're working in an enterprise, it is not core to the business. And that is the reason why we see a big adoption of agentic AI. And if you don't know what agentic AI is, I'll kind of cover it in the next few slides in a very simple words, how I try to explain what agentic AI is. But what I see is that there are only 12% of the companies today which are implementing or experimenting something with AI, with agentic AI. That's what we saw in the room. Only 4 or 5 of you in this room are doing something with agentic AI. Very, very similar. We see very fractional of the organization doing something with agentic AI. But this number is almost going to be triple in the next 2 or 3 years. That is the prediction most of the analysts are doing. But why? Why there is a big shift in agentic AI is because this is the technology which helps you to make AI core to your business instead of sitting on the edge just solving summarization or very edge use cases. So that is the power of AI or agentic AI, where the whole goal of agentic AI is that how it can make your daily life easy and you can automate a lot of the work which you are doing today manually. So this is a chart just to give you a kind of a overview of how this agentic AI different than regular or traditional AI, what I call it. And the very simple way to understand this is, if you're driving a car, every car had a cruise control, and which worked, which means that cruise control is good for certain speed, and you can go for a certain speed, and then it cannot do anything beyond that. But then there are a lot of cars which gives self-driving experience, which means it is making decision for you when to stop, when not to stop. All that is an agent. In fact, in San Francisco, if those of you who have been there, you will see there are Waymo and there are a lot of companies who have driverless car. And if you look at all of that, that's nothing but agent, right? So agent is what will help you to make your things which are rule-based to more goal-oriented and decision-oriented. And instead of having a fixed learning, it has more adaptive learning or continuous learning, right? So that is a power of agentic AI, where the things which you are doing manually and the things which are very static rule-based, it can now become more automated and more easy to use. That's the power which agentic AI kind of brings in terms of the technology is concerned. Now, what I've done is I kind of taken that concept, the driving car concept, into the world of enterprises. So if you are working in any organization, or you will be joining some organization who are from the students here, you will see that in any organization you go, there are a lot of business processes which any organization has. These are like employee onboarding. Like when you join a new company, there is a big process which goes into when you join a company. Like somebody will give you an offer letter, then from there it goes to HR system, then you will have a Salesforce account getting created, a ServiceNow getting created. All that is a business process. And many companies have already automated these business processes, which works great. But then if there is a new data source which comes in, or if this company gets acquired, if this company acquires another company, or this gets acquired, or if there is any other data sources or any cloud system comes in, this business process which is being running from many, many years in these companies tend to break, because this is static, rule-based, and it has a very deterministic flow. So which means anytime you want to make changes in this employee onboarding scenario, it doesn't work and then it breaks. And the power of agentic AI is that it is trying to make this whole process more seamless and more easy, so that even if there are some changes in your business process automation use cases, this reasoning agent is something which can help you to automate all these changes, right? So basically what I'm doing here is, from the business process which was built by enterprise, which was static rule-based, with agent, it is going more into adaptive, flexible, and very continuous learning kind of a phase. And what you see in the employee onboarding use case is not just in employee onboarding. I mean, no matter whichever field and technology you are in, we see a big use case of agentic AI. We see a use case in help desk automation. We also see a use case of marketing automation, that the way you do you collect your leads, how you find out your more high profile customers to reach out to. All that has changed from being very static and rule based to become more agentic, which means it can change and it can adopt as the thing changes. So this is the power of agentic AI, which all of you, these are like some practical use cases, which all of you will see when you will join an organization or in your company, right? Like I just gave 3 examples, but it could be many, many more. Now, if there is so much promise in agentic AI, what is the challenge you will face when you are building any agents, first agent of your choice? So the first thing what you see here is a picture of a typical organization, right? Like in any company, if you see, you will not be looking into working with single application. You will have data spread across in multiple applications. Like you will have a weather agent, you will have, like this is an example of a company which is trying to automate their supply chain. And you can see that there are so many applications out there. There is a CRM, there is a routing optimization, custom application, customer profile. Like data is not sitting in one place, data is spread across. Now imagine if you have to build a business process which has to solve a supply chain use case. What you have to do is you need to connect all these applications together. And this is not an easy task to collect all these applications together. And that is where there were a lot of tools and technologies came in to kind of automate some of these business processes. through APIs and there are a lot of tools called application integration tools which came in. Now, with the power of agent, what we are saying is all these app vendors have come up with their own agent. Now, if you are following the technology and if you are following some of the announcements which are coming in the world of agentic AI, every day you will hear that every app vendors are coming up with their own agent. Like ServiceNow has announced that they are acquiring MoveWorks. They have came up with their own agent. There is Oracle which came up with their own agent. Everybody, like every app vendor has come up with their own agent. Now imagine if you have to solve an agentic AI use case for supply chain. In the past, you have to connect all these applications together, but now you have to connect all these apps together, all these agentic app together. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the problem you will face when you will build your first agent is that you will see a problem of proliferation of agent. Just like you have proliferation of data problem, now you will feel a problem of proliferation of agents because you have to connect to all these agents. These agents has to talk to each other because your data is not in a single app. Your data is on multiple applications. And now to talk to the different applications, you have to connect all these agents together. So what I did was I kind of looking into all these things, we came up, we actually realized that there are three fundamental problems in building an agentic AI solution. And this is what you see in these three pillars. And keep an eye on this because when you are building your agent, your first agent, you may be facing one of them, right? So the first one is about trust and accuracy. So the way to explain this is, I'll kind of give you an example of a great cook, right? If somebody has like a world-class chef, he may have a great cooking experience, skills, but his skills are not useful if the ingredients are bad. If you don't have the right ingredients in your cooking meals, no matter how good your cooking skills are, your reasoning skills are, the dish will not be good. And here, the ingredients are your data. And that is what I say is that if your data is not right, no matter if you make the best algorithm or you have the best LLMs to build your agentic AI solution, it's not going to work because your agent is it's the key portion for doing your reasoning, right? So the very first problem every organization faces is that do I have the right data or the data management tools to actually prepare my data for AI? And this has been a problem whether starting from the beginning when AI came in from the predictive AI scenarios to Gen AI to agentic AI, data is a fundamental problem which everybody faces. The second problem which I see here is proliferation of agent. We talked about it. Every app vendor talks about different agent. And they will tell you that move all your data into their applications to solve your agent use case. But that's not practical. No organization will put all their data into a single app. So that is the second problem you will see is that how the multiple agents are coming up and proliferation of the agent is there. So how you can stitch them together to solve your use case. So that is the second problem. And the third problem is all about governance and all about scalability. It's because when you are building your AI, how will you make sure that the decision it is taking, is it trustworthy? Can you have the AI explainability in there? Do you know what kind of data it is trained to? Can you trust that AI, the output of AI? So these are the other problem which we see every organizations are facing when they are building their first generative AI application. All right, now I come to the three tips. So if you are building your first AI application or if you are evaluating a vendor to pick for your first AI initiative, look for these three things. So the first thing is that make sure the product and the tools you are using or the foundation you have has a strong data foundation, which means the tool which you are using for agentic AI development, it should have a data management capabilities, which means it should know how to clean your data, how to massage your data, how to integrate your data from multiple sources. And because that is extremely important for building a right AI use case. And the second bullet here, which is very important in the first side, is how you can leverage your existing investment, which means that there are, in many companies, some of these business processes are already being built. So instead of you relying and starting everything from scratch, if you can, is there a way to leverage some of the previous work you have already done? So make sure that the tool you're using also allows you to reuse some of the work which you have already done, because starting everything from scratch is not going to work, right? So the first thing is make sure that your ingredients are right for your cooking thing. That's what the data and data management is. The second thing is the tool you're using should not be the tool which only can talk to their own, like the one own application ecosystem. It should be something which can talk to multiple applications, multiple agents. So having an ability to connect multiple applications and agents together is also a very important factor of actually building your first enterprise AI solution. So keep that in mind. And the third one is all about confidence, like how you can deploy this in confidence. And the only way you can do this is if the tool you're using also has enterprise capabilities of security, governance, how you do SDLC in agents, all that should be also part of your planning process. So in my opinion, these are the three important tips for you all if you are starting to build your first your agentic AI solution. And in my next slide, I'm going to give you a little bit on the technical side of how the things looks like. So which means if you are a developer here, or if you are a coder and you want to do this on your own through toolings, the way you do it is you kind of build this kind of a stack. And what you see in the middle is what is the most important thing for you to build your first agent. You need to pick your LLMs, and LLMs here could be coming from open source, it could be ecosystem specific, it could even be the LLMs which you are hosting on premises, right? So that's an important factor. So this is very important for you to pick your right LLM, which is approved from your organization. You need to have the right memory. So this memory is basically used for both short and long-term memory. This is, you may have heard about the word RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. So this is coming from there. You need to pick a right vector database for this. And then tools. Tools is all about, this is where you can bring in your data, your existing skill set of your organization. This is where all the ingredients can fit in when you build your first agent. And then the last one is the scope. The scope means what are the boundaries and guardrails you are actually defining when you're building your agent. You don't want if you're building in a supply chain agent, you don't want that agent to order pizza for you. So how will you define that boundaries? That is a boundary which you will define in the scope, which is coming from system prompts, right? So these are the four important technical aspects of building your agent. Then on top of that, you need some AI management or AI API management capabilities, because all these agents generally are exposed either as APIs, or nowadays it is exposed through MCP protocol, which is Model Context Protocol, which came from Anthropic. So you need to provide a gateway also, so that only the secured user can access your agent. And then you need to build it, put it in an app so that people can easily discover it and use it, right? So this is I call it like a blueprint of building your enterprise agents. And all this blueprint has those three business principles, which I talked in the previous slide. All right. Now, if you're wondering where I can start, how I can start, I don't know how to have those three things which I talked about, this is where Informatica can come in. So I'm a product manager for this product called AI Agent Engineering. So if you're planning to get started with agents and you don't know where to start, you can always use our service, which helps you to do all those three things which I talked about, which is ability to build your agent through trusted data, ability to connect your agent to multiple agents so that it doesn't run in silos, and then also having the management capabilities, which is governance capabilities. So all these are available in this service. This is available for free for all of you to try it out in our trial. So you can check it out in our website. So if you want to try, you can check this out. Okay, so these are the three things which I was mentioning, which are available in that service, which pretty much helps you to do those three pillars which I talked about, like how you can build your agent, which is grounded by the right data. You can connect your agents to other agentic AI solutions, and then you provide a management capabilities which are mostly backed by governance. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it from my talk, and these are the three takeaways. Again, just to recap, make sure that when you are thinking of building your first agent, keep in mind of these three things. One is think about your data policies, your data management capabilities, making sure that your agent can connect and talk to multiple other agents, because you will never build an agent in silos, and then having a governance in mind, right? These are the three important things to think about. And with that, I'll just share my LinkedIn profile. So if you guys have more questions and you want to get started with it, and whether you use our product or not doesn't matter. If you need some help, I'm happy to help here. So if you want, you can connect me in LinkedIn and share any questions. And typically I reply those questions in 24 hours if I can. So with that, I'll hand over to the next speakers. Thank you so much.
Before the panel, do we have questions for Sumeet?
Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, thank you for that awesome presentation, and thank you for coming from San Francisco as well. The question I have is that the multi-agent system seems like at scale, once deployed, it would be the perfect kind of deal. But obviously, there's got to be a long runway to actually getting all of those things up and running. How do you think about navigating that transition from a zero agent model to a fully agentic model?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the way we have seen many customers, what they do is they deploy an agent, and sometimes the agent only talk to one applications, and then they'll say that, hey, now I'm going to bring in the other applications. And generally what we do is that there is always an eval framework in building any agentic AI solution. Eval framework means that how will you know whether your agent is really performing the way it is supposed to perform, right? Like how will you decide whether the agent is is it hallucinating or it is not hallucinating, right? So one of the things we have seen is that there are technologies like LLM as a judge, which you can use to figure out what is the real performance and optics of an agent is, and then based on the performance of that agent, you can actually decide what you need to do. Maybe it requires a new retraining or more data to be fed, right? So those are the things we generally use. And then generally what we see is that after that, they decide that, okay, they need to bring in more agents, because some of the times it hallucinates because it doesn't have the context of all the data. And at that time, you may want to bring in other additional data and additional agents to support that. So as you said, that's like generally is a eval process, which means you start small, you evaluate, you bring more, and you make it kind of iterative to actually achieve your multi-agent architecture. But when you build it, you should think about those three things which I mentioned, so that eventually you will have those three problems which I described here.
Any more other questions?
Yeah. Yeah, so the question is when you build these multi-agent architecture and framework, how you manage the traffic of the agent. So if you remember my slide, if I can go back, in my whole architecture there is something called a gateway, which you see the proxy on the top. So generally what happens is when you build these agents, you generally have a gateway or a proxy in the middle, which means you can actually define the rate limiting policies, you can define white labeling, you can do all those things as part of that gateway, which generally get deployed as part of your agent building. So most of the customers, what they do is that they define all these policies as part of that gateway, and that kind of helps you to manage your traffic on which IP address you want to whitelist, which you own, what is the rate limiting, all those policies you can define over there. Any other questions? All right, so I'll be here, so if you have any more questions, I can take it, but thank you so much.